Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Buddha's Berry, a delicate and earthy green tea. With blends of Roma, Krishna, Vana Tulsi, and blackberry leaf, it's a great way to start the day. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, thank you all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below. Go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hi guys, PDXParadise.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Okay, I am from Portland, Oregon. I was born in Portland, raised in Forest Grove, Hillsborough, Cornelius, Beaverton area.
Okay.
I've been all over. And what was the music?
And just, what do you do as far as music goes?
Okay, I make rap music, hip-hop related tracks. I'm also trying to generate into possibly reggae in the future,
okay.
R&B, different styles, and kind of put my personality and style into those genres of music and make my own.
Oh yeah. And what got you into music initially?
I've always been a fan of music, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Just growing up, I remember being in the backseat, just bopping my head at 4 years old to some Shakira or something, some 50 Cent. And I just always gravitated towards music. And at just 9 years old, I didn't have much, grew up from a poor neighborhood and poor background. And so I had to find ways to generate creativity, and we didn't always have cable, so I had to be creative and use my creative aspect on paper. So I started writing my own music at the age of 9.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Just got right into it.
Got right into it, and I just remember I wrote a rap about my day.
Mm-hmm.
After I was done, it was maybe 6 bars, 7, 8 bars, somewhere around there. Showed my mom, and I just started spitting rhymes. And my mom looks at me. She's typing on the computer. She looks over at me and she's like, "That was actually good." And I was like, "Back to the lab, Mom. Back to the lab we go."
Hell yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's cool that she was supportive of it right from the beginning as well.
It made me happy that she was supportive, because here and there, there's balance between my mom supportive of certain things and then kind of iffy about, she's grew up in religious, and she's Mexican, so yeah. Yeah,
no, I get that. And I mean, at the end of the day, parents can't understand everything.
Yeah.
I think, that's just part of it. They get older too, I guess. Yeah. But no, that's really cool. It's cool that you were able to get started kind of right into it so early, utilizing the circumstances that may not have been the best.
Mm-hmm.
Who were some of your early influences? Who were some of the sounds you heard that made you want to go that direction musically?
Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G.
Oh yeah.
Oh, till this day, I love that man. I wish he was still alive today, but he still inspires me a lot.
I mean, his music is pretty timeless.
Yeah, it's timeless for sure.
Oh yeah. And then for this next one, these are just a couple foundation questions we ask everybody, and they're kind of, this recurring fun ones. And this first one, it's one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
That's a very good question, Jimmy. Physically, an actual album?
I mean, like CD or record, just and if you only ever bought music digitally, what was the first ones you bought digitally?
Okay, probably Green Day was one of those, Gorillaz.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got into that type of music at a pretty young age, listening to my older brother, jamming out to that, and I'm like bopping my head. I'm like, I like that.
I'm going to be honest, Demon Days is one of my all-time favorite albums.
Oh, yeah. So you a fan too?
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Like that.
And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to that was like one you wanted to go? So not one that you were like dragged along to, but the first one where you saw it was happening and you were like, oh, I want to go to this.
Since I'm really big into rap and hip hop and, just like turning up, YG.
Okay.
Yeah, YG.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was into that West Coast, and I mean, I still am, but...
Well, I mean, we're on the West
Coast. Yeah, we're on the West Coast, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I just heard YG's music, and I was like, yo, I feel like that would be a good experience.
Yeah.
I went to a YG concert, and I had a great experience.
Were they performing with anybody else?
Just a bunch of his crew members. It was mainly him, and... yeah, I remember he had a piñata of Donald Trump, and it was just lit. Everybody was vibing together and just on the same frequency together.
Oh, yeah. That's always a good experience. And then before we move on to the next portion, this last one's a little bit of a denser question.
Okay.
But, I mean, especially because you started so early and you seem like you were pretty decided about what you were doing. Do you have a moment after that was like a turning point where it went from just something you did to like the thing you do?
That's a really good question, Jimmy. Man, I don't even know how to answer that.
I guess like a when did you decide to take it more seriously moment?
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is I like this question. So back in 2019, one of my very close best friends from high school, her name is Jenny. Shout out to Jenny. She always inspired me and pushed me to do things that I enjoyed doing, but I just never believed in myself enough because growing up, I didn't have all the support from everyone, and she heard me singing in my room. I thought she was in the bathroom, but she was standing at my doorway listening to me sing. She just slams open that door and she's like, Bree. I was like, what? Yo, I didn't know you were listening. She's like, what are you doing with your life? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, get in the studio like tomorrow. Go write a song and get in the studio. Like she literally pushed it onto me. And then I thought about it and I was like, you really believe in me? And she's like, yeah, like, what are you doing? Like, you're so talented, do it. And that's when it like clicked in my head and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should take it professional. I've been doing it since I was 9.
Yeah.
It was always just a passion and a hobby, nothing like career-wise or, taking it into that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And that day was hype, man. After that, like we were just blasting music, turning up in my room, lights flickering everywhere, all the LED lights.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just good energy exchange. And then after that, I got right to it, put my Beats headphones on, grab my pen and paper. What I'm always good at is songwriting and just feeling the music and reflecting on my life and putting it into that song in that moment,
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought that was a beautiful thing. So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That's definitely, it sounds like it was a pretty impactful moment.
It was powerful.
And, it's one of those things where it's like, it really can just take one person being like, why aren't you? To be like, oh, why aren't I?
Yeah.
It's cool that you had somebody who was there to do that for you. You know what I mean? And I think, it's also, it's interesting that you started as a your starting approach was more one of this is my sand garden versus this is my meal ticket. You know what I mean? Like it's appreciated that, especially from a young age, you found solace in the music first and then a way to make it a livable experience after. Versus I feel like there's some people who start because they're like, oh man, look at how successful you can be doing this. It's something I like.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. I appreciate you asking.
But let's go ahead and let's get on into you as the current day artist.
Okay.
And we're just going to get a super easy one out of the way. How did you pick the name?
PDXParadise. I'm going to be honest. I was on IG trying to look for a cool, different, unique name for my tag. And then growing up, I've always been so attracted to paradise, because I grew up around a lot of toxic behavior and I always dreamt of being on the island in the sunset and just visualizing myself in the sand, soaking up the sun. And I was like, I love the word paradise. I'm attached to it for whatever reason, so I must embody that. And then I was like, where am I from? PDX. So I just collided it together, and I was like, man, that's pretty dope. That's fly.
Yeah.
So I just set it as my IG username, and then when Jenny inspired me and was pushing me to be an artist, I was like, well, what do I call myself? I'm like, well, everybody already calls me Paradise or PDX or, you know, different little nicknames that they got for me. And I was like, well, it's already sticking, so I might as well stick to it.
Yeah. Hey, if it isn't broken, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I love that. And then let's go ahead and let's talk about your writing process. And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning.
Okay.
So you are inspired. We're gonna cross that step off the list. You are in the mood to make music.
Okay.
What are some of the first things you do every time to start a new track?
I go through just a bunch of beats, and then I'll like save the ones that I like. And then depending on my mood, if I'm like in a really like hype mood, or like it's just a fast beat that I'm like, you know, just feeling, I listen to it. And then I think of what I'm going through in my life at that moment, or like what I had gone through the last year or so, kind of incorporate that into my music. Or, you know, if I'm just trying to rap about like having a good time with my friends, or trying to be inspirational, or talk about a life lesson I had to go through, you know, that's kind of how it goes. I just reflect on it and incorporate it into that. So yeah.
And then once you get a track finished, so like you've gotten it all written. It doesn't have to be like put out yet, but it's just like on paper, you've got all of the stuff, you're ready to practice it. How long does it take you to get from the finished writing portion or point to being able to perform it?
That is also a good question, Jimmy. Start to finish, like I said, it depends on my mood or like my schedule too, even, because I don't always have time to make music, but I always make the time for it.
Yeah.
So if I have like 30 minutes to jot down some lyrics, and, you know, I'll stick to that. I'll piece it together and make it what sounds good together, like a puzzle piece, you know, from start to finish. Typically, I could write a song in like an hour or two, maybe even less, depending on how creative, you know, the flow is going in my head. I'll smoke a little cannabis and get that flow going a little bit more. Find inspiration, you know. I have a Biggie Smalls poster in my room. I have a Biggie Smalls t-shirt. I just look at him and it inspires me to keep going. And then I just think of ways to make that flow kind of like Biggie, like that New York style. Yeah. But like my style too, you know?
Oh, yeah. Originally, the question, though, was asking after. I mean, that was still a really cool answer. I definitely want to leave that included as a continuation of answering of the first one, because I think that was really insightful.
All right, let's dig into it.
But once you finish writing the track, how long does it take you to feel comfortable to perform it?
Right away.
Okay, so by the time you're done writing, you've just heard it so many times that you just know it.
I'm just ready. I'm very confident in myself now that it's just so repetitive from me, like, you know, out loud saying it, and then it just sticks to my head and I start remembering the lyrics right away. And Energy and Fire I released, and then like the next day or two I performed it. Oh yeah. Actually, no, wait, the same day I went to the studio, I had a performance. And I had to remember the lyrics right off the bat. Okay. Yeah.
Damn, you were just ready.
I was ready.
Hell yeah. And actually, that's a solid track. I have it here. That's your most recent single. What can you tell us about it?
Energy and Fire. Energy and Fire represents a lot of different things, you know, and a lot of other people can relate to it or resonate with it. But it's basically about digging deep within yourself and finding that power and that fire. My brother is a fire sign, so I kind of dedicated it to that too. He's not in my life, but, you know, I still think about him all the time. So I kind of wanted to incorporate him into it a little bit, and I released it on his birthday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I appreciate the attachment your family seems to have in the journey of your music as well as the music itself. Yeah. It seems to be a returning point for you, and that's really cool.
Thank you.
And then for this next question, I want you to look back on, we'll say all of 2023. We're still close enough to it.
Okay.
How did your process change in that year? Or if it didn't change, how did you like solidify into what you're doing?
I got in contact with some people at a performance, and they networked me with a producer. And
yeah, that'll change it for sure.
Changed up everything. As soon as I walked in the studio, very welcoming guy. Shout out to Jano.
Oh, yeah.
Great energy. Me and him just meshed well together and worked well. I let him know what I wanted. And yeah, no, it just changed a lot of things for me in 2023. I had good income coming in, flowing well. The year before that was a little more rough. I was going through some family things. So I only released one song, which was Ride or Die. But yeah, in 2023, I released, I think, 4 songs that were pretty solid. Jano produced that for me, put it together, made it the way that I wanted it. And yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, that getting a producer, especially somebody who like sees your vision and works well with you, that can go a long way towards making it for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And then looking at whatever you're currently performing regularly right now, do you have a favorite song that you like to perform? I mean, obviously you love all of them, but is there one that like every time it goes on, you're like, all right, this is where I turn it up to 11?
Underdog.
Hell yeah.
Underdog brings that underdog and out of me. Like, I'm just like, you know, like, and then not only that, but like people feel that energy presence when I'm into it, and then they get into it, and it's a beautiful thing.
It goes from underdog to upper dog.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
That one's staying in here.
All right.
That's my one joke for the week.
All good, Jimmy.
Oh yeah. And then for this next one, this is the other kind of the deep question. This is probably the densest question in the interview.
Okay.
But, we've talked a lot about, your experiences with music, the things you're doing with it now, the things that are happening because of it. But when it's just you and music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
Healing, reflection, depending on my mood, like I mentioned a couple times before. If I'm like going through some life can I cuss on here? If I'm going through some life shit and I'm feeling down, I just isolate myself and connect with the music and, like really intertwine with the song and feel the words, feel the lyrics, feel the vibration and frequency of the song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I become one with the music, the beat. Every single beat, bah, 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 it just hits my body, my soul. And I connect with it, and it's just so beautiful. It heals me. It's a healing process. Not only that, but it inspires me to be creative and put my own life lessons out there in my music, or, because there's somebody out there who needs that, and they hear it, and it uplifts them. And that's my goal, is to, uplift people with my music and make them feel heard. Because Biggie Smalls made me feel heard or, like, inspired. I want to do the same for other people that listen.
I love that. That was great. Thank you for sharing that. All right. And then this last question in this middle portion, this is more looking towards the future.
Okay.
What does your end goal look like? So not like, I want to put my mom in a house, I want a bunch of money, things like that. But like, what do you look like as the end goal? What is your experience? What do you want to become from here?
That is an excellent question, Jimmy. I have thought about that many times since I was young. I eventually want to become my own producer because I know that I'm capable of it and incorporating my own creative skills into it. I want to become my own producer. I'm working on, my own business right now that's about to take off.
Oh, yeah.
Just generating different hobbies and passions and letting the cash flow to me, but it's not about the money, it's about the passion and inspiring the people. And when I do make it, because I will, I'm very confident in that, I want to help out my community. The community needs me. They need that inspiration, they need that light, that hope, that faith, that there is people out there still willing to use their platform and be a good person. So I would love, that's like an everyday thing everywhere I go, if I have a leftover half-eaten burger and fries, I just hand it to the community, someone who needs it. You know, they're hungry in that form. I'm hungry in the wanting more for myself in achievements, in success, you know?
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Power.
Yeah, you've definitely got it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions.
Okay.
And for these, sky's the limits. They're all made up, so the answers can be too. But for this first one, pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive. Who would you pick and how would you want to work with them?
Tory Lanez.
Okay.
I'm his number one fan. I don't care what anybody says. I have been his fan since 2015. I discovered him, instantly got attached to his sound, and I investigated more into who he was as an artist, and listening to his podcast and his story just is beautiful. Like, I love this. I love Tory Lanez. I've mentioned his name in one of my songs, one of my older drops. I've actually gotten a message back from Tory Lanez before he went to jail. I've talked to him, texted him a couple times through the fans chat text number, so I already have that communication with him, and I truly believe I'm going to collaborate with him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's me and him both, I think, or I know, let me change that up. I know we could make a beautiful collaboration. He inspires me, and I want to inspire him.
Oh yeah, I love that. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of, but you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
That is a good question. Measy Mr. 503, me and him were talking recently about collaborating. He's got good energy.
Oh, yeah.
I like what he talks about in his music. He talks about some real life stuff that's, you know, relatable. And I like realness. I like genuine authenticity. Like, and that man right there, he's real. I would like to collaborate with Mr. Measy 503.
Oh yeah. Everybody make sure to add them in the comments so that they can hear that. And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal here. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, guaranteed best lineup, guaranteed best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue, where would you want to perform?
I love that question, Jimmy. Probably Tokyo, Japan.
Okay.
Just love the city, nightlife, the fashion, the music, like everybody there always expressing love and good energy, and I just feel like I would be one with the music and the crowd.
Music there is accepted really well too. Like, it's easy to go there and do music and to be able to do it multiple times in an evening if you really want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. So that's a solid choice for sure.
Thank you.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions.
Okay.
If you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have just put out an album yesterday, they could have not put out an album in 100 years. Who would you want an album from? And when would you have wanted it to come out? Wow.
That is a really good question, man. All of these are great questions.
Thank you.
I feel connected to that. Well, definitely Notorious B.I.G.
I had a feeling.
My number one inspiration growing up, and, you know, just following his podcasts, his movies, his everything. You know, I wish he was still alive today. Yeah. And I know that he would be doing a different style of rap. He'd be shifting the game. Oh man, he's still the king. He will always be the king in New York.
Yeah. You know, this isn't the first time his name has come up for obvious reasons. It's it's a great choice. Yeah. But I always wondered, because, you know, the other one that comes up a lot is Tupac. I wonder what their music would be like now. And if they were still around today, would we have ever gotten a collaboration album? They would have had to have squashed it at some point. Like, that collab would have been insane.
Personally, I think that they would have squashed their beef as logical men. They would have just squashed the beef.
Oh yeah.
And it was a different time too.
If you live this long, especially if that was, you know, early on in life, like, you know, look at like Snoop Dogg now. Yeah. Like, you know, he is definitely not as into it as he was before.
Yeah.
Same with like Ice Cube. You know, he's a family man. He does you know kids movies on top of music stuff, and like so like you know they all eventually grew out of their setting into something else or grew away from it. You know, and so I think to know what they would have been like now, like long past that window of time, it would have been something special.
Oh, it would have been life changing.
Hell yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to, say, for the first half of 2024?
Oh, man, I was going to keep this low key, but I guess I should share it.
Okay.
I've got a lot of stuff coming that a lot of people don't know about, only my closest friends.
Exclusive announcements, y'all.
I just became an official business owner of my own merchandise/clothing brand.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's one thing.
Hell yeah.
I'm also planning on dropping an EP. I won't say when, and I won't say what it's about, but just be prepared to hear some fire music.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
You guys can find me on Instagram at PDXParadise. You can find me on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, also at PDXParadise. That's PDXParadise altogether, one word, no space, don't make it complicated. Facebook, I'm Bree Paradise. Yeah, you guys can find me on there. Hit me up. Don't be afraid to collaborate with me. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Shout out to Club Paradise. You already know who you are. I love you guys. You guys have been nothing but supportive and showing love and positive energy. And we're going to the top together. And I'm going to put Portland, Oregon on the map. And I'm going to change the community and shift things. Things are going to be way more positive, and I'm going to influence all the listeners. Remember me.
Hell yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Go for it.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below. Go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. But with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation.
Okay.
But what is an album you feel is on the obscure side, so not a lot of people know it, but is one that you think everybody should know?
Honestly, any of Tory Lanez's music, another huge inspiration for me. I just think for the longest time, his music was slept on.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would always post it in like my stories or reels or whatever. He inspires me, and I wanted to share that inspiration with everyone. Honestly, I can't choose one, Jimmy.
What's like one song by him? If they were gonna go and check it out, just get a feel for it real quick. First one that pops in your head.
He has this. I forgot the name of it. It's been a while since I heard it. It's been a couple years. He talks about his mom. And how it changed his life and shifted his life, you know, losing his mom. He shared that personal part of him. And I just personally feel like a lot of people could use that healing, you know, and listening to that. He shared like the storyline of his day, hearing the rain in the song because it's what happened through the day. And I just feel like, you know, we've lost a lot of loved ones. And him sharing that important part of his life made me feel heard, and it could make a lot of other people feel heard as well. Just make people feel important, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Jimmy. Shout out to everybody.
Hell yeah. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's JamBox. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm PDXParadise.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
Peace.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.